How one mistake made me the enemy of everyone I loved. I never thought that one single moment could change everything. One tiny slip, a simple mistake, and suddenly you're staring at the ruins of your life. That's exactly what happened to me. I was 28 years old, living in Boston, working as a project manager at a tech company that wasn't huge, but wasn't small either. I had been with my girlfriend Emma for 3 years. My parents were supportive, and my younger brother Matt and I were pretty close. Or at least, that's what I thought. The job was stressful, sure. Deadlines piled up. Clients demanded the impossible, and the CEO was always breathing down our necks. But I liked it. I liked the challenge. That Tuesday morning started like any other. I showed up at the office early, grabbed a coffee from the corner cafe and headed straight to my desk. The project we were working on was a big deal, could bring the company millions if it succeeded. Everyone was on edge. At around 10, I was drafting an email to one of our clients with an update on the project. The email contained sensitive information, numbers, timelines, strategies that were not meant to be shared with anyone else. But, tired and distracted, I accidentally included a client who wasn't authorized to see it. The moment I hit send, my stomach dropped. I realized right away what I'd done, but I was too slow to stop it. I tried to contain the damage immediately. I called the client, explained it was a mistake, begged them not to share the info. I told my boss the truth, hoping it would stay between us, but word got out fast. The client used the data to negotiate with our biggest competitor. We lost the deal. My boss was furious. I was called into a meeting with HR and the CEO. They said it was a breach of trust, a serious error that risked the company's future. I begged for a second chance. "I'm sorry," I said. "I'll be more careful. Please don't fire me." But it was no use. I was let go the same day. When I told Emma, I expected her to comfort me. Instead, she looked at me like I was someone else. "How could you be so careless?" she said. 3 years and you throw it all away with one stupid mistake. I wanted to scream, to tell her she didn't understand, but the words caught in my throat. Something inside me broke that day. The next few days at home were even worse. My parents didn't say much, but their silence was worse than anger. My brother Matt stopped returning my calls. One evening, I finally caught up with him at a local bar. "You really messed up," he said, not looking me in the eye. "You embarrassed all of us." I tried to explain, but he wouldn't listen. It felt like I had become a stranger in my own family. The worst part was watching Emma slowly distance herself. She stopped replying to my texts, avoided meeting me. When I finally confronted her, she said, "I don't know if I can be with someone who lost everything because they didn't care." Her words felt like knives. I was alone, fired, rejected, and abandoned by everyone I loved, and all because of one mistake. After that conversation with Matt, I felt like I was spiraling. The shame of losing my job was heavy enough, but the way Emma and my family turned their backs on me made the wound unbearable. Every time my phone buzzed, my heart raced in hope that it was her, a text saying, "Let's talk," or "I'm sorry," but there was nothing, just silence. Work had been a huge part of my identity, and suddenly that was gone. The job wasn't just a paycheck. It was a symbol of who I was. Losing it meant losing myself. I spent the next few days wandering around the apartment, staring at the ceiling, wondering how a single email could tear everything apart. My friends tried to reach out, but I pushed them away. I didn't want to explain, didn't want to relive it. They didn't fully understand, how could they? I was drowning in guilt and regret, and I felt like the world had decided I was a failure. One night, after a particularly sleepless week, I found myself scrolling through social media. That's when I saw it. A post from my company's page celebrating the new deal, the one we lost because of my mistake. Comments flooded in, congratulating the team and praising the CEO's leadership. Nobody mentioned the scandal or the fallout. I realized then that they had moved on without me, replaced me in an instant. The people I thought I mattered to didn't seem to care. I decided I needed to confront the situation head on. I called my former boss, Mark, hoping for some clarity, or at least some closure. "Mark, I just want to understand what happened after I left," I said nervously. There was a pause. Then, "Look, Jason, you made a serious error. The company suffered because of it. We had to act to protect ourselves. But did you really think I did it on purpose? Or that I was trying to sabotage the project?" Mark sighed. "That doesn't matter anymore. The fact is, you lost our trust. And frankly, everyone at the office is still upset about it." The words hit me like a punch. I wasn't just fired, I was cast out, made it into a villain. And even worse, They wouldn't give me a chance to explain. I tried reaching out to Emma again, leaving voicemail after voicemail. Finally, she responded, but her voice was cold. "Jason, I don't think we can go back. You changed, or maybe I just saw the real you. Emma, please. I'm still me. I made a mistake, but I'm not a bad person." Her laugh was bitter. "It's not about being bad. It's about breaking the trust we built. And right now, I don't think I can trust you anymore." That night, I sat alone in the dark, the weight of her words crushing me. Days later, my parents invited me over for dinner. I hoped it would be a chance to reconnect. During dinner, my mom kept glancing at my dad, then at me, but said nothing. Finally, my dad spoke. "We're worried about you, Jason. You've been shutting us out. Maybe it's time to think about getting help." I clenched my fists. "I'm fine." "No, you're not," my mom said softly. "You need to talk to someone. We love you, but this can't go on." That was the first time anyone suggested I might be struggling mentally. I knew they were right, but I couldn't admit it. I felt like if I let them see me weak, it would confirm all their doubts. As I drove home that night, I realized something had to change. I couldn't keep living like this, isolated and broken. But where to start? How do you fix a life when everyone around you sees you as a mistake? The next few weeks were the hardest I'd ever faced. I knew I couldn't keep wallowing in self-pity, but I didn't know how to pull myself out. My confidence was shattered, and every attempt to move forward felt like walking through quicksand. I started looking for new jobs, but the rejections piled up fast. I sent out dozens of resumes, went to interviews, but every time the conversation shifted to why I left my last job, I could see the doubt in their eyes. It was like I was branded with a scar no one could ignore. One afternoon, I sat down with my laptop in a quiet cafe and finally opened up my phone. I called my brother Matt. "Hey," he answered after a long pause. "Matt, I know I screwed up, but I want to fix this. I want to make things right with you, with Emma, with Mom and Dad." There was silence on the other end. "Jason, it's not that simple. You don't just mess up and expect everyone to forget. You hurt people. I know, and I'm sorry. But I want to do better." "I'm trying," Matt sighed. "It's going to take time, and I can't promise anything yet." I hung up feeling more alone than before, but at least the door was slightly open. I started seeing a therapist, something I had resisted at first. Opening up about my anxiety, shame, and fear was painful. I had to confront uncomfortable truths about myself, about how much I had tied my worth to my job and others' opinions. The sessions were exhausting, but slowly I began to understand my mistakes weren't the end of me. Meanwhile, Emma was still avoiding me, but I kept sending messages not to beg, but to show I cared. One night, she finally replied, "Jason, I don't know if we can ever go back to how things were. I'm hurt, and I need time." I answered honestly, "I get that. I'm here when you're ready." Months passed. My family was still distant, but the small gestures, a text from Mom, a quick call from Matt reminded me that maybe I wasn't completely lost. One day, my therapist challenged me. "Jason, what if you could use this failure to build something new? Not to erase the past, but to grow from it." I thought about that a lot. I realized that I had been so focused on fixing what I lost that I never thought about what I could create. I started volunteering at a local nonprofit that helped people rebuild their lives after setbacks, addiction, job loss, homelessness. Helping others gave me purpose. It reminded me that everyone makes mistakes, but not everyone chooses to rise. Slowly, I rebuilt my confidence. I applied for jobs again, this time focusing on smaller companies where I could prove myself without the heavy expectations. And then, one afternoon, I got a call that surprised me. It was Mark, my old boss. "Jason, I won't lie, your mistake cost us. But I hear you've been working hard to turn things around. There might be an opening in a new project team, and we're willing to give you a shot." My heart raced. Was this real? A chance to redeem myself? I said yes immediately. But things were far from simple. When I returned to the office, some colleagues welcomed me, but others still whispered behind my back. The shadow of my past mistake lingered like a ghost. Emma, too, was still a complicated chapter. We met for coffee once, talking openly for the first time in months. "Jason, I want to believe you've changed," she said. "But trust takes more than words." "I know," I said quietly, "and I'm willing to prove it." Our conversation ended with no promises, but with a fragile hope that maybe, just maybe, we could find our way back. That night, as I lay in bed, I realized something crucial. The mistake that shattered my world also gave me a choice: to remain broken or to fight for the pieces. I decided I was going to fight. Returning to work was like stepping into a minefield. Every hallway held whispers. Every glance felt like a judgment. I wasn't the same Jason anymore. I was the guy who blew the deal. The one everyone expected to mess up again. Mark's offer to bring me back wasn't just a second chance, it was a test. A test I knew I had to pass or lose everything forever. The first weeks were brutal. I stayed late, double-checked every email, every contract detail. I didn't want to give anyone an excuse to doubt me, but the pressure ate at me, like a storm that never ended. One afternoon, during a project meeting, Lisa, a senior team member, called me out. "Jason, are you sure you've learned from your last mistake? Because it looks like you're missing key points here." Her voice was sharp, almost aggressive. The room grew quiet. I felt the familiar rush of embarrassment and anger, but instead of snapping back, I took a breath. "You're right to question me, Lisa. I want to ask for your trust, but I'm working hard to earn it back." The tension eased, and some colleagues nodded. It was a small victory, but it felt like climbing a mountain. Outside of work, my relationship with Emma was still on shaky ground. Our conversations were cautious and brief. I could tell she wanted to hold back, afraid to get hurt again. One night, she surprised me by showing up at my apartment. "We need to talk," she said. I nodded, my heart pounding. She confessed, "I've been struggling to forgive you. I still love you, but the trust is broken." "I don't expect it to heal overnight," I said, "but I want to try for us." She smiled weakly. "Me too." That moment felt like a fragile bridge between two broken people trying to reconnect. But the hardest test came unexpectedly. My parents invited me to a family gathering, something I hadn't attended since everything fell apart. Walking into their house, I felt a wave of anxiety. My father gave me a nod, but my mother's eyes were filled with tears. Later, my dad pulled me aside. "Jason, we've watched you struggle, and we're proud you didn't give up. But there's something you need to hear." I braced myself. "My sister called," he said quietly. "She told us about some rumors about you and Emma." I froze. "What rumors?" I asked, my voice trembling. Dad looked away. "People say you two are done for good. It's not true," I said quickly. "We're trying," he sighed. "I know you are, son, but people talk. You need to be ready for that." That night, lying in bed, I realized the biggest battle wasn't just with my past mistakes, but with how the world saw me. I decided to take control of the narrative. I wrote a post on social media, sharing my story, the mistakes, the fallout, the fight to rebuild. The response surprised me. Messages poured in from strangers who had been through similar struggles. People thanked me for being honest, for showing that failure isn't the end. "I'm proud of you." Her words gave me strength. I knew the road ahead would be long and difficult, but I was no longer running from my past. I was facing it one day at a time. The weeks following my social media post felt like a roller coaster, highs of support and lows of doubt. I kept working hard at a new job, slowly regaining my footing. But deep down, I knew the real challenge was rebuilding the fractured relationships that mattered most. Emma and I continued to meet, sometimes talking for hours, sometimes sitting in silence. The wounds weren't healed, but there was progress. One evening, after dinner, she looked at me and said quietly, "Jason, I want us to be honest with each other, no more hiding." I nodded. "I'm ready," she sighed. "I've been scared. Not just of what happened, but of who you are now. I worry you might still push me away." I took her hand. "I'm scared too, but I want to face that fear with you." Meanwhile, at work, my team was assigned a high-stakes project that could make or break the company. Mark pulled me aside one day. "This is your chance to shine, Jason. Lead it well, and you'll prove everyone wrong." The pressure was immense, but I embraced it. I coordinated meetings, solved problems, and leaned on my colleagues when I needed help. The project slowly took shape, but then disaster struck. Just days before the deadline, a critical error emerged in the data, one that could unravel everything. I felt my old panic rising, the ghosts of my past mistake taunting me. But this time, I faced it head on. I called an emergency meeting, took responsibility, and worked through the night with the team to fix the problem. Mark later told me, "That was the moment I knew you had changed. You didn't run away. The project launched successfully. As for my family, the ice began to thaw. My parents invited me more often. My brother started texting regularly, and even Emma moved in with me, cautiously rebuilding what we once had. One evening, as we sat on the couch, she smiled and said, 'We survived the worst. Maybe we can build something better.' I smiled back. Together. Looking back, I realized my biggest mistake almost cost me everything: my job, my family, my love. But it also taught me that failure isn't the end. It's just the beginning of a new story." If you like this video, please subscribe for more.